Well, welcome back to Orchestra Biomed's channel, accelerating the delivery of medical innovation to patients through risk-reward sharing partnerships. And joining to take us through a recent capital raise, an incredible job, and breaking down what the capital is going to be used for, of course, David Hochman, the CEO and founder, joining us. First and foremost, welcome back, sir.
Hey Kyle, thanks for having me again.
It was a pleasure to get you back on, especially in this fascinating realm that you guys are playing in. And more importantly, I mean, you guys raised 111 million. You secured the capital. Break down this capital raise and exactly how you're allocating this capital toward the company.
We're very excited about it. Most importantly, the capital we raised, which had three components, and I'll talk about them, but overall, the proceeds extend our financing runway into the second half of 2027. So put us in a position to execute on key goals over the next 2 years. Those key goals are to finish enrollment of the Backbeat Global Pivotal Study, which is evaluating AVIM therapy for the treatment of hypertension and pacemaker-indicated patients in partnership with Medtronic. We're aiming to finish enrollment middle of next year, and then the primary endpoint data would come shortly thereafter. A 3-month follow-up is the primary, both safety and efficacy endpoint data. So that's a critical milestone for the company and for the program, and really would be about setting the stage for next major events, which would be regulatory submissions by Medtronic and commercialization. We also will be able to start the pivotal trial for Virtue SAB, which we got IDE approval from the FDA last quarter, and now we're working to start the study in the US in the next several months. And so we expect that we can now have the capital to accomplish substantial, if not full enrollment of that study. We're still evaluating since we haven't started the study yet. So these are huge milestones for the company, and it's a very significant event to bring this capital so we can make long-term operating decisions and really focus on execution.
But this money that you secured actually equates to almost the market cap value. I think there's significant underappreciation for the value that you guys are providing to shareholders. And there were multiple components to this capital raise as well. Do you want to talk a little bit about the structure and just kind of what you see behind this?
Sure. We're really proud of the financing we accomplished because we think it really managed and hopefully minimized dilution for shareholders. There were three components to the financing. Really importantly, our strategic partner, Medtronic, who's our partner for AVIM therapy, made an additional over $30 million investment in the company in two components, over 11 million of equity purchased in a parallel or concurrent private placement, so restricted shares, but at the same price as our public equity offering component. But also Medtronic will draw down in the future 20 million of additional capital available. It's structured initially as a note, but ultimately will convert to a capped prepaid royalty. Medtronic and our partnership with Medtronic features significant future royalty interest for Orchestra, and so we'll credit some of that back to Medtronic, but the cost of capital of that 20 million is significantly lower in terms of our investors' interest in terms of minimizing equity dilution. We also brought in a new strategic capital partner, a company called Ligand, whose real focus is investing in exciting healthcare innovation programs, particularly in the biopharma space. So this is a notable medical device investment for Ligand. They invest long term and buy a royalty interest in those assets. And so Ligand has a large portfolio of other programs, of other royalty-based investments. They're also a public company with an over $2.5 billion market cap. So Ligand committed 40 million to Orchestra. There was another private equity component, but the primary investment is 35 million to buy an interest in our future royalty-based revenues. So both that Medtronic component and Ligand, total about 55 million of the money came in, is non-dilutive to equity and really focused on participating in the long-term significant upside in the case of Medtronic of AVIM therapy, in the case of Ligand, both AVIM therapy and Virtue SAB. So we did all that at the same time as we were able to conduct our first underwritten public equity offering, working with two outstanding firms, Piper Sandler and TD Cowen. So that brought in total gross proceeds to date of about $40 million and increased both investments by key institutional holders as well as brought in new institutional investors. So what we pulled together was complex to bring those three threads together at the same time. We're really proud of that work. I think it shows our team's ability to think outside the box, literally to think creatively and to execute in a very difficult funding environment for smaller cap companies that are innovators like us, to accomplish a funding which is really going to drive these very significant milestones for us, but do it in a way where we minimize the number of new shares that we issued, particularly to new shareholders, so that we protected the interests of our equity holders. And given the long-term nature of those royalty-based investments, I think that overall that positions equity investors quite favorably. So we're proud of what we accomplished, and once again, it sets us up for key milestones on both programs, and most importantly, full enrollment and primary endpoint data on the backbeat study. So
Yeah.
it's a great question. Hard to accomplish these things, but really important, and I think positions us right now to just focus on execution and creating value for shareholders, both in the near and mid and long term.
Yeah, and I think it's a true testament to Orchestra Biomed here as we pass it off to the viewers as always. We'd love to know what you think in that comment section. And consider subscribing as news catalysts like this hit the wire. We'll bring it to you here. But on that, we look forward to catching you in the next one.